Hi students, this is Mrs. Kang. For today's notes, we're going to do pages 23 and 24, which is on dividing mixed numbers. You can divide mixed numbers also by multiplying by the reciprocal. So, KCF that we learned last time we met, you use the same strategy, but there's just one difference, okay? The difference is you're going to change any whole number or mixed number as improper fractions first, okay? And then you're going to multiply by their reciprocal. So then you're gonna do KCF. So it's gonna require one extra step. I have 4 word problems that I'm going to go over. However, before that, there is one other thing that I want to cover that's going to come up on your homework as well as on the test, okay? Which is writing the reciprocal. So on the previous lesson, we talked about how you can simply flip the fraction to find the reciprocal. But if you have a mixed number, so for example, let's say your number is 2 and 1/3, and they say find the reciprocal. Well, the reciprocal can only work, the flipping the fraction can only work if you have a fraction or improper fraction. So the first thing that you're gonna need to do is you're gonna have to do around the world and write this as an improper fraction first. So 2 and 1/3 as an improper fraction is this. Denominator stays the same. And then for your numerator, the shortcut is 3 multiplied by 2. So there is that symbol. 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 1. So it is 7. But don't get confused. This is not the reciprocal. This is just 2 and 1/3 written as an improper fraction. Now we're going to flip it, and that's going to give us the reciprocal, which is 3/7. Okay? So 7/3 and 3/7 are reciprocals. And this is going to come up on your homework tonight. Okay. All right. So with that, we're going to work on some of these word problems together. So the first word problem, this is what it says. 1 serving of Katie's favorite cereal contains 1 2/5 ounces. How many servings are in a 17.5 ounce box? Okay, so when you're dividing, don't just assume that it is the first number divided by the second number. You have to read the context. And the context is this. It says how many servings, how many 1 2/5 cereal serving, how many of these can be in 17.5 ounce box? So the total amount that you have is 17.5. You're gonna divide that by 1 2/5. Okay, now before you do KCF, the first thing you're going to do is you're simply going to rewrite these mixed numbers as improper fractions. Don't do KCF just yet. So then here we go. Denominator is 2. Your numerator, 2 times 17 is 34, plus 1, so 35. Divided by, I'm not doing KCF yet. Your denominator is 5. Your numerator, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2, so 7. Now that they're both improper fractions, you now write KCF. So, keep, change, flip. Okay. I would love to cross cancel over here. However, because I'm sure there are many students that do not know how to cross cancel, I'm just gonna multiply across. So your numerator is 35 times 5. So 25, 15 plus 2 is 17, 175. Your denominator is 14. 2 times 7 is 14. Now, I'm going to do in and out to write the improper fraction as a mixed number. So 175 in, 14 out, and I'm going to divide. 14 goes into 1 0 times. 14 goes into 17 once, which is 14. Your remainder is 3. Bring down the 5. And 14 goes into 35 2 times, which is 28. Okay. Now, when you subtract, you need to borrow. 15 minus 8 is 7. So then it is 12 and 7, 14. But there is a common factor that you can simplify 7 and 14 by, which is 7. So then your answer is going to be 12 and 1 half. Since it's a word problem, it is 12 and 1 half servings. And for servings, it is possible to have half a serving. So then your answer is going to be 12 and a half servings. But sometimes, depending on the problem, if the answer, the labeling has to be full number, a whole number, cannot be a partial, cannot be a fraction, then you would, depending on the problem, leave it as 12 or round it up to 13. So sometimes you have those type of problems too. Okay, all right. Going on to the next one. Jake has 10.5 pounds of potato salad. He wants to divide the potato salad into containers, each of which holds 1 1/4 pounds. How many containers does he need? Explain. So same thing. So he has total of 10.5 pounds, and he's going to divide it by 1 1/4 pounds to see how many containers he needs. I am going to do around the world to write the number as an improper fraction. So your denominator is 2, and then your numerator is 20 plus 1, so 21, divided by, denominator is 4, your numerator is 4, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1, so 5. Now I'm going to write KCF. So, keep, change, flip. I'm going to multiply across. 21 times 4, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 84, over 2 times 5 is 10. Since that's an improper fraction, again, I'm going to do in and out. So 84 in, 10 out. 10 goes into 84. So 10 goes into 8 0 times. 10 goes into 84 8 times, which is 80. 4 is my remainder, which makes my answer 8 and 4 tenths. But 4 and 10, again, you can simplify by 2. So your answer is 8 and 2 fifths. But think about it. The answer would be 8 and 2 fifths containers. Here's something weird. There's no such thing as 2 fifths containers. So then, in order for me, Jake, to put everything in a container, do I say he needs 8 containers, or do I round it up and say he needs 9 containers? Hopefully you guys can agree that he needs 9 containers, okay? Because if he only has 8, then where is he gonna put his 2 fifths of the pounds of potato salad that are left, okay? So he actually needs 9 containers. And that would be the answer. So the exact answer is 8 and 2 fifths. However, because it's a word problem, you have to think about the situation, okay? All right. Now we're going to go on to the next page. So here you have some problems involving area that deals with dividing mixed numbers. So you know from elementary, to find an area of a rectangle, here's the length and here's the width. Remember, area is length times width, okay? So it says you can find the area of a rectangle by multiplying length times the width. So in other words, A equals L times W, okay? If you know that formula, so then if you know the area and one of these two dimensions, you can find out the dimension of the other one. Okay, so like let's say you're giving the area and the length, then you can find out what the width is. If you're giving the area and the width, then you can find out what the length is. So here's a formula for that. Let's say you are looking for the length. What you can do is you can do the area divided by the width. This is a division symbol, okay? Similarly, you can find out the width of a rectangle if you take the area and you divide it by the length, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and solve it. On this problem, it says the area of a rectangular sandbox is 56 2/3 square feet. The length of the sandbox is 8 1/2 feet. What is the width? So we're looking for the width. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the area and divide it by the length. So area is 56 2/3. And we're going to divide it by the length, which is 8 1/2. Okay, again, you need to do around the world to write it as an improper fraction. So here, your denominator is 3. Your numerator, 3 times 56. So I'm going to quickly do the math here. 18, 15 plus 1 is 16. 168 plus 2, so 170. Divided by, your denominator is 2, and that your numerator is 16 plus 1, 17, okay? I'm gonna have to end pretty soon. I'm actually waiting for a conference. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to write KCF. So keep, change, flip. Now, for this one, I'm actually going to use cross-canceling. So if you look at 17 and 170, 17 is a common factor. So 17 divided by 17 is 1. 170 divided by 17 is 10. So then when I multiply across, I'm going to do 10 times 2, which is 20, over 3 times 1, which is 3. And then I'm going to do in and out. So 20 in, 3 out. Now, 3 goes into 20 6 times, which is 18. Your remainder is 2. So the answer is 6 2/3 feet. So the width is 6 2/3 feet. Okay. Now, since I do have 2 minutes or a little over a minute, I'm going to quickly do the bottom one too. So the area is 14 1/2. I'm going to divide it by the width, which is 4 1/3 to find the length. So again, I'm going to do around the world here. So if my first fraction, denominator is 2, my numerator is 28 plus 1, 29, divided by my second fraction, my denominator is 3, and then 12 plus 1, so 13. I'm going to write KCF. So keep the first fraction, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Now, notice, there really isn't anything that you can cross-cancel, so just multiply across. So 29 times 3, 27, 6 plus 2 is 8, so 87 over 2 times 13 is 26. I'm going to do in and out. So 87 in, 26 out. So 26 goes into 87 3 times. Wait, let me see. Sorry, my mind is not working. Yes, 3 times, which is 78. When you subtract, you get a remainder 9. So then that means the answer is 3 and 9, 26 yards. So the length is 3 and 9/26 yards. Okay, all right, that is it. Thank you. I'm going to